it's Robert Macfarlane here, and today we are going to explore why failure is essential to a filmmaker. My failure right now is that I forgot to change the color in the background. I know this might be a bitter pill to swallow, but you will fail. And you know what? That is fine. Accept it, enjoy it. Remember, failure is a part of the process. Episode done, that's it, that's a wrap guys, let's go home.
That's a wrap.
Back in the early 2000s, feels like hundreds of years ago now, I was a student, believe it or not. I decided for my final major project, I was going to go big. That was a mistake, because in that final major project, I decided that I was going to do a bunch of things that I'd seen other people do. I was going to expand the production value, and I was going to expand the size of the story, the crew, the cast, pretty much everything beyond what I'd ever done before. What I assumed was going to happen was that I was obviously going to produce a masterpiece of filmmaking.
That was incredible!
Well, unsurprisingly, that didn't happen. Instead, what I experienced was a metric ton of mistakes.
Was I really that naive?
And don't get me wrong, those mistakes have gone on to help me grow as a filmmaker in so many ways. But it probably was the most expensive way to make those mistakes, to learn those lessons. Many of you have probably seen the arguments for and against universities and learning film in an institution, and I know filmmakers like Christopher Nolan make the argument that actually learning through an institution or system turns you into the same generic filmmaker that we all know and love. Instead, I chose to treat university like a playground, like a place that I could make a whole bunch of mistakes.
I can do anything.
Film. Now, many of you have been in the situation where you have sunk your own funds, your own savings into creating your films, and there is nothing wrong with that. But I do believe there is a sliding scale of risk when it comes to investing in your films. And we'll take that into consideration in a little bit. But for now, let's just talk about some of the other things that I learned along this journey called failure.
You're about to enter a world of pain.
I am what you might call a hard knocks learner, which means that you can tell me straight to my face what issue is about to come up. But quite often, I won't truly understand just how tricky or difficult that issue is going to be until I feel it myself. And then I'm able to make the better judgments later down the line. But what I've recently realized is there is a huge amount of value in feeling to learn, because you feel it, you understand it in a technical, practiced way. So how do you practice making mistakes so then you don't make them later and mitigate the risk of messing up someone else's video that they have put in your hands? That is why it is just so important to be regularly creating short films.
I must create.
The biggest directors in the world, in between their big feature films, will produce short films. This is not just a way of practicing their craft, but it's also a way of testing out new ideas and techniques in a far less risky situation. And this is what it comes down to. What you want to do is you want to enable yourself to confidently utilize new tools and techniques, but you want to do it in situations where the risk of failure doesn't mean it's going to damage your career.
You have nothing to fear.
I can tell you I have made quite a few short films in my career. Some of them have been successful.
You had like this moment.
Yeah, that was crazy.
My fire!
but each and every one of them have been a valuable learning experience. In fact, I would say the ones which did the worst were the ones which I have grown from the most. I would say if I had made great movies from the get-go, as I started making short films, I probably would have never grown to where I am now in my career, purely out of an unwillingness to grow. If I was already brilliant to begin with,
I am so great, Bender is great,
then why get better?
Is he trying to tell me something?
We always go into every short film, every crew member is on that set because they want to make a great film. They do. They really do. They don't want to make a bad film. There are a lot of bad films out there.
Have you ever heard such a superior know-it-all toad?
But I think for a lot of us, and myself included, the fear of failure has actually stopped me from making films.
Why not? Are you scared?
I did a film in 2013, which was the largest film, the longest film I had ever created, and it didn't get great feedback. In fact, I got a lot of negative feedback.
I'm not listening to anything you have to say.
That caused me to not make another film for 5 years. I focused on helping others produce their films. I should have seen that film as a stepping stone.
But it was the best thing I ever did.
So instead of trying to make a perfect film, which is impossible, by the way, I challenge you, use this next 2 months to make a film, to get past this fear of failure and this concept of a film being perfect. It cannot be done, even if you had the $200 million budget of the Justice League. Even the most talented directors in the world, no matter who they are, no matter where they're from, have made bad movies. But I guarantee you, those directors learned a lot on the movies that they didn't do so well on. Look at Rian Johnson. After making Star Wars Episode 8, the backlash he received from that film was tremendous. But then he went on to go and make one of the most tremendous murder mysteries of the last decade in Knives Out.
Enter Benoit Blanc.
So, your new mantra for 2021 is going to be, done is better than perfect. That means in the next 2 months, you are going to get together with your family, friends, whoever you can pull together in whatever way, shape or form, while staying safe, obviously, and you're going to produce a short film. If you need even more impetus than this, I believe one of the best ways to make sure that you consistently turn up, you consistently produce, is getting yourself an accountability partner.
You'll do it because you must.
Find someone who, like you, wants to produce great films, wants to direct, and both of you keep each other on the straight and narrow, keep each other creating content.
You can do it. You can do it.
Once you have created your film, share it with the world. There are so many ways in which we can get feedback on our films, and I thoroughly recommend festivals, as well as there are lots of online ways, such as shooting people, to get great feedback on your films. Learn from your mistakes. And finally, don't forget to keep failing until you don't.
With a smile.
Thank you for joining me in today's episode, guys. If you found today's content at all useful, don't forget to check out the links below to up your game on your next film.